ASEAN Dailies. First and the foremost news from Southeast Asia. Hello, welcome to 3 ASEAN, the voice of discovery and sharing.
Did you hear that PM Najib was almost being kidnapped last year?
Well, spill that to me. Who are the culprits?
Well, the Daesh group or ISIS. It was revealed by Deputy PM Zahid Hamidi at the parliament.
That's correct. The terrorists are getting more sophisticated by day. It is a danger that affects not just the national security, but also peace and stability of the country.
Yes, the police also uncovered a plot last April to blow up Putrajaya, and another in May to bomb the Freemason Lodge building in Bukit Jalil.
Talking about threats, right? Southeast Asia is extremely vulnerable to radicalization. On ASEAN Daily, we'll bring you daily updates and commentaries on issues and events that are impacting this region. I'm your host, Grace Cho.
And I'm Jolene Tan. And today, on Wednesday, 9th of March 2016, we will bring you the latest politics and current affairs news from Southeast Asia.
Our top story today. Supreme Court allows Senator Grace Poe from disqualification as presidential candidate in the 2016 elections.
And that is definitely quite something exciting. The Supreme Court voted 9-6 to reverse the decision of the Commissions on Elections, known as COMELEC, to cancel Poe's certificate of candidacy.
And also Supreme Court spokesman Theodore Tay, he said in a statement, "I'm authorized to say that there will be 4 concurring opinions to the majority decisions and 5 dissenting opinions. Please note that since the court has only authorized the release of the vote, it may not be safe to report which ground the court rule upon and used as basis for the vote, for example between citizenship and residence."
The High Court heard oral arguments on the case for 5 Tuesdays, from January 19th to February 16th. During the oral arguments, the views of at least 3 justices showed they were leaning toward recognizing Poe as a natural-born Filipino and as having established residency before running president.
And you know what? She also fought disqualification cases against her before 3 bodies, and they are the SET, COMELEC, and the Supreme Court.
Well, it was a close vote at the SET. In November 2015, the SET voted 5-4 to deny the petitions to disqualify Poe from the 2013 senatorial post.
And what happened is, a month later, in December 2015, the COMELEC decided to dismiss Poe's appeal to allow her to run. And the commissioners voted separately on the 2 cases involving the senator's citizenship and residency requirements. Both divisions previously ruled against Poe.
At the Supreme Court, there are 4 key issues on these issues. Firstly, when does the count for the 10-year residency requirement begin? Secondly, will the court engage in judicial legislation? Meaning, shouldn't Congress pass it to address foundlings' eligibility for government positions? Thirdly, adoption's law as a defense was not raised by Poe's counsel before the COMELEC. Lastly, in weighing evidences on Poe's citizenship and residency, what will be the measurements? Anyway, congratulations to Senator Grace Poe. We look forward to the Philippines presidential elections with much enthusiasm.
Let's move on to the next news. Suu Kyi's ban of AIDS may help the Myanmar president role. This would include a doctor, a one-time driver, and a personal assistant, as the NLD chief Suu Kyi is looking for a close confidant to rule in her place.
Well, Suu Kyi, she was barred from Myanmar's presidency by constitutions established in 2008 during the Than Swi's military regime.
And instead, she was vowed to rule above the next leader, potentially adopting a system like India's Sonia Gandhi, who presided her power despite having no official government role.
But the NLD is due to nominate a candidate to replace outgoing President Thein Sein at a meeting in the parliament on Thursday.
So there, in total, 3 names will be put forward. But with just days to go before the selection, the public remains entirely in the dark about the candidates.
The uncertainty has definitely stirred up a storm of speculations, with a list of possible figures including Suu Kyi's former driver, her family doctor, and her personal assistant.
And that is according to the political analyst Kim Win, who said it's going to create huge problems.
I definitely have to agree with him. Can you imagine that the new president would always have to look over his shoulder for instructions from Suu Kyi?
Well, anyways, for Suu Kyi, her focus now is on the national reconciliation, and this is expected to be reflected in the cabinet anyways, and that is announced by the NLD in the coming days. That will include figures from across the political spectrum.
Well, moving forward for another news, more refugees are leaving Cambodia, further straining $55 million deal with Australia. Of the 5 refugees transferred to Cambodia under a resettlement deal, 3 have abandoned the country and have risked returning home despite a well-founded fear of persecution.
So Australia is still responsible to bear the full amount, $55 million cost of the deal, $40 million in additional aid, and $15.5 million in resettlement assistance, regardless of the number of refugees resettled.
The latest pair, a married Iranian couple, which was transferred from Nauru to Cambodia, are understood to have left the country in February. They did it voluntarily. This was confirmed by the Office of the Immigration's Minister, Peter Dutton.
And all of those who have abandoned Cambodia have been found to be genuine refugees. That is, they have a well-founded fear of persecution in their homelands.
While the Australian government maintains it remains in discussions with several countries in the Asia-Pacific region about resettling refugees from its offshore detention centers in Manus Island, Papua New Guinea and Nauru.
Papua New Guinea Prime Minister Peter O'Neill, he mentioned last week that his country had been damaged by the ongoing scandals and abuses within Manu Island Detention Center and said his country could not resettle 900 men held there.
Whereas the Nauruan government has consistently refused to ever permanently resettle any refugees.
Australia's deal with Cambodia to resettle refugees who are sent from Australia to detention center camps on Nauru has attracted fierce criticism. Cambodia is an impoverished nation with a slew of human rights violations.
According to Elaine Pearson, Australia Director for Human Rights Watch, she said that the Australian government was naive to believe that the refugees will live happily ever after in Cambodia.
Well, now they have wasted about $55 million. Well, the Australian taxpayers must be angry about this. I mean, I will be angry about it for sure.
Thank you for tuning into Duran ASEAN. For more interviews by Duran ASEAN, please tune into our website at duranasian.com. If you are on the go, you can always download our TuneIn app on your mobile. Please subscribe to our YouTube channels at Duran ASEAN and Duran ASEAN TV. Don't forget to follow us on our Facebook page, Twitter, and Instagram. We always welcome feedbacks from our listeners. Stay tuned with ASEAN Daily, Monday to Friday, the same time, 1 p.m. GMT plus 8. You are now listening to Duran ASEAN.
You're now listening to Duran ASEAN, the voice of discovery and sharing.